Tonight on USA Today, Dallas chooses President's Day to open a museum honoring John Kennedy. It's in the sniper's nest from where he was killed.
We have a responsibility to all of these visitors who come here from all over the world, and we now know that they come to let go of the painful part of a memory.
25 years later, a new generation is obsessed with prying into Kennedy's death.
It never ever leaves you. It's like a part of your soul that's grafted onto you. It never ever goes away.
Was the real target Texas Governor John Connally?
You can't help but think every now and then about how you were spared. A few inches to the left, and the bullet would have gone right through the center of my heart.
Did Kennedy's shooting make us a more violent society?
Why is this most affluent of all countries the most like a jungle?
Good evening. I'm Edie Magnus at the Texas School Book Depository in Dallas. Just behind me is where Lee Harvey Oswald crouched to shoot President Kennedy. That box is in the same position as the one Oswald used that day to rest his gun. And that, of course, is the window from which he fired. A museum opened here today. Dallas is facing up to its history, and we're devoting our entire program to the aftermath of one of America's darkest days. Here is Bill McAtee.
Edie, this is the most famous killing field in American history. Tucked away in a little corner in Dallas, 25 years ago, in just 6 seconds, America seemed to lose its innocence. No matter how many times you come to Dealey Plaza, it always seems you feel the phantoms. The convertible Lincoln coming down Elm Street there, the smiling president, the first lady dressed in pink. And then the old school book depository, standing as a silent sentinel to the tragedy. And as you stand here, your eyes seem to move naturally to that infamous window. Today, for the first time ever, the public is being allowed to visit the 6th floor, where Lee Harvey Oswald stuck his rifle out a window and shot President John F. Kennedy. Abandoned for 25 years, the 6th floor has now been transformed into a $3.5 million museum with hundreds of photographs and video displays detailing the single most vividly remembered instant of our lifetime. The drama lingers on in grainy black and white.
People come to let go of the painful part of a memory, that it's part of a healing process. There's a lot of good that can be done by dealing squarely with the fact that this part of history will not go away.
It is odd how history remains stubbornly alive in Dealey Plaza. Thousands of tourists come from all over the world. Although a Kennedy memorial is only 2 blocks away, most people don't even go there. They want to stand here and simply stare. And to come to terms with the feeling of guilt that we could have lost such a young leader in the prime of his life. For a quarter of a century, Dallas has done its best to ignore that time. Even now, there are no signs pointing out the depository. And if you want a tour around the plaza, the only person who will give you one is a homeless man who sleeps at night behind the picket fence on the famous grassy knoll.
Yeah. That's the grassy knoll over there.
No,
right over here.
Yeah.
Dallasites wanted to forget it. For several years following the assassination, it was very difficult, I think, for most of us to say, yes, we're from Dallas.
I remember myself as a college student traveling through Europe. People would say, oh, you know, where are you from? And, you know, when you'd say Dallas, their first reaction was, bang, bang, you shot the president.
Now the past is ready to return. The 6th floor reopens, but this time not only as a record of one moment in history, but as a place where people can begin to heal. A place where people can also learn something very important about themselves.
In everyone there is a fear and a fascination with death, since we all know it's going to happen to us. Part of this is what brings us to these places of death making its public appearance. They will always look up at that 6th floor window. And whether they wonder or whether they feel like they know what happened, it'll always be such a personal thing because it's you versus death. It's you inspecting yourself.
This is more than an assassination museum. Visitors here will see the life and times of an era, including a look at the Kennedy family